Dobry wieczór Państwu.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This was Bester Quartet. A round of applause. And my name is Wojciech Trela, and it is my great pleasure to accompany you at the ceremony of presentation of Labor Mobilis 2017 award. I will be your guide and also companion, so Cicerone cum companion, and we're in for a plethora of attractions of not only musical type. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Kraków, the city of lyricism and poetry, the city of science and academia, where powerful ideas often drown in the hubbub of cafe voices, where in a confectionery of Jan Michalik, Bojżeleński created the first Polish cabaret, listening with one ear to Leon Schiller playing the piano, in the city that became the cultural heart of the country that at that time was non-extant, that like no other city was capable of grasping what Germans call the Zeitgeist, that is the spirit of the time. Kraków turned it into the words and lyrics of poems, songs. Jan Staudinger called Kraków the prism through which Poland is becoming ever more beautiful. Welcome to the city of literature and poetry, the city of Miłosz, Gałczyński, Szymborska and Mrożek.
Proszę Państwa, organizator...
Ladies and gentlemen, the organizer of the gala today is the Labor Mobility Initiative Association. Let me welcome all the members, friends, with Mr. President Stefan Schwarz. And the host city of this event is Kraków. Let me welcome Anna Okońska-Walkowicz, consultant for the mayor of Kraków.
Serdecznie witam laureatów poprzednich...
Let me welcome the winners of the previous year's awards. And may I present to you the jury? Sometimes they are the same people, but this doesn't mean that they presented those awards to themselves. No, before they won, they first won, and only then did they join the jury. Danuta Jazłowiecka MP, the first recipient of Labor Mobilis 2013.
Pan minister Radosław Mleczko, właściciel...
Radosław Mleczko, who received his Labor Mobilis in 2014. Welcome to Kraków.
Pana Laszlo Andora, byłego komisarza...
Mr. Laszlo Andor, former Commissioner for Employment, cannot be here with us today, but because he received his Labor Mobilis in 2015, he desires a round of applause.
Witamy pana Rafała Kulczyckiego.
Rafał Kulczycki, director of the Department of Promotion of the city of Kraków, who represents the city host in the gala.
Pana
Stefan Schwarz, the aforementioned president of the association, the Labor Mobility Initiative.
Honorowym członkiem
The honorary member of the jury is Professor Gertruda Chrzcińska, the president of ZUS, who unfortunately cannot be here with us due to the duties that keep her busy in the Polish Parliament. Pity, because it's certainly much better atmosphere here with us.
Witam pana...
Let me welcome Dr. Marek Benio, from the University of Economics in Kraków, the secretary of the jury, deputy president of the Institute of Labor Mobility that for some time, together with Ms. Anna Okońska-Walkowicz, occupies our cafe. No, just, we don't want to interrupt you, lady and gentlemen. No, do what you choose to do. Round of applause is a round of applause, but let's start it really.
Proszę Państwa, Szanowni Państwo, Kraków jest...
Ladies and gentlemen, Kraków is a very special city, so it's best to be welcomed here by Ms. Anna Okońska-Walkowicz. Anna, the floor is yours. Good evening, good evening. It's a real pleasure and a great honor to welcome you tonight, enjoying the fact that for the 5th time you've chosen Kraków for the venue of your meeting, enjoying the fact that there are so many marvelous experts coming to Kraków, that you are giving us an opportunity to show our foreign guests, people from all over the world, the charms of the city. Thank you very much, Mr. President. We're deeply grateful. I believe that this late autumn aura will not in any way break your strides walking through the city. I hope that this day and tomorrow are in perfect atmosphere. May your ideas enjoy an opportunity of being implemented, although this morning made me deeply pensive and reflective. Thank you very much, Mr. President, for this keynote. Well, I must say that it does cause concern, especially in Kraków, where we draw a lot from what you do. We draw from people who are posted. The greater our happiness that you consider those serious problems here in the city. I wish you a perfect time and very fruitful time tomorrow in all the sessions.
Proszę Państwa, pięknie dziękuję.
Ladies and gentlemen, now I'd like to thank you very much for this introduction. May I invite to our cafe the winners present here, Ms. Danuta Jazłowiecka and Minister Radosław Mleczko. Please join Mr. Benio on the stage.
Drodzy Państwo, proszę spocząć.
Ladies and gentlemen, take some seats. They're really comfortable, and you've got some music. It's Besta Quartet. A round of applause is really due.
Bester Quartet. Brawa!
Bester Quartet, a round of applause.
Mamy...
We've got for you yet another surprise. It's a musical surprise, but this will be for the end of the night. Before we present this beautiful prize award, may I ask, because there's perhaps somebody here in the room who doesn't know what Labor Mobilis is. This question goes to Dr. Benio. I am only a modest secretary of the jury, perhaps the winners, the recipients, a minister. How about you? What is this prize for you?
Dobry wieczór Państwu. Ja przyznam się, że...
Ladies and gentlemen, we really arranged this earlier, that Dr. Benio will make me take the floor. He was kind enough to call me earlier and said, that's what we are going to do. Only that he made that reservation, Minister, make it a bit of fun, but also a bit serious. So it's got to be a bit funny, not too long, not too short. So, you know, he kind of asked me to make it something different than my memories, my understanding of what it means in my life. So I decided I would give you a down-to-earth lecture on what objectively Labor Mobilis is. To do it, I even prepared a short PowerPoint presentation. Well, you know, good information is good information. Nothing's better than that. Well, the director of today's concert gave me that device. Again, it's like in the parliament, there's a green button and the red button, and the director asks me to press the green only. All right, I'll start to do my voting. You're lucky I don't have to press. You made that sound. So let's press the button. I even have notes to make it more scientific and academic. I'll be taking a peek only in the most extreme moments, and I'll try to make it no more than 5 minutes. Let's start with the name, Labor Mobilis. This award, in Polish delegated wings or posted wings, English counterpart is wings exit, belongs to the family of European controversial awards and is present mostly in the European Union, and a characteristic feature, as you can see, are the wings. You can say that actually Labor Mobilis are wings, full stop. For which reason I decided to invite you to this short journey into the history of wings and the most important owners of wings. Who do you think is going to be the first? Yes, you're right. Round of applause for those who knew its Iker. Probably painted around 1557, a landscape with the fall of Iker. In the right bottom-hand corner, there's the foot of Iker. Everyone thinks, why do we remember Icarus and not Daedalus? Well, I'd like to look at a fact that most of you probably know. Where can we see that painting, the fall of Iker? In Brussels, ladies and gentlemen. It's in Brussels. That's where Ikers fall. Of course, the Royal Museum of Arts. Jacek Kaczmarski, in a song titled The Fall of Iker, gave a beautiful poetic picture, and now a difficult moment for the translators, because I will be reading what they did. The white feather with a drop of wax is dancing with a sizzling wave. I'll wait for a moment for the translator. That's what you can see here. That's the bottom right-hand corner. That's this white feather with a drip of wax dancing in the stormy waters. I prefer, however, Młynarski's song. The title is means many things. We play the green. And he sang, now the Iker who's already falling down, he thinks, if I got a better gust of wind, I could fly again. Well, it rhymed in Polish. Another case from the history of wings is Nike of Samothraki, a Hellenist sculpture exhibited where? No, not in Brussels, in Paris, in the Louvre. The goddess of victory. One wing was appended, that's the right wing. The head was never found. I'm sorry. Excuse me. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is much more homely to us Poles. These are the winged knights, the hussars, elite teams of workers posted to special tasks. I'd only like to emphasize that against the legend, they hardly ever had two wings. I ran research to get ready to this. They usually had one, and these were not only eagle's feathers, also different. Now, they were fixed to the back of the saddle after the knight said that otherwise it would be difficult to get on the horse. And now, a theme that I wanted to develop because it's worth it both in art history and in many other areas of life, namely the angel's wings or the angelic wings. You had them in plenty of songs. Poets wrote about them. I thought I'd find something interesting. I put it into Google and all the other browsers, and after you put it in the browser, you get this result. Buy angelic wings. Prices from 17.99 to 29 zloty. Pity. Well, that's the times. You also have wingmen. Wingmen, ladies and gentlemen. What else can we add? Left wing Ronaldo, right wing Messi. Well, now, I must say that I sent this just when I finished it, and I asked that there's one more slide coming after this with a photography of Mr. Marek Benie and Mr. Schwarz with a comment that they are our excellent Ronaldo and Messi while posted to Krakow, but unfortunately due to problems with censorship we won't have the next slide, but the censorship led through Adam Mickiewicz, the Polish poet prophet, author of the cult call Youth Give Me Wings or Bewing Me. He was a poet, you know. We're getting closer to birds. That's one of my favorite birds, Geronticus eremite. Fascinating bird. The Latin name, Labor Mobilis Geronticus eremita. But what is even more fascinating in its silhouette and its name is that in English it is called the bald ibis. And in Polish it's called the long-haired ibis. You can do it? Of course you can do it. But this birdie here is demonstrated for more reasons than just the characteristic hairdo or hair don't, and combination of the hairdo and the hair don't in front, but also that I've been fascinated with the results of studies on ibis and the way how they use the possibility of flying in a chevron. Quite complex studies, but in a chevron they take an appropriate position towards the wings of the predecessor. They try to fly on the uplifting air and to try, it's full of illusions, remember. Well, it's especially for our translators, to fly on the upwardly moving air and to avoid the whirlwinds. They stand at 45 degrees. The gain is great. Every, apart from the leader, can statistically reduce the aerodynamic resistance by 65% and increase the range of the flight by 71%. And imagine how great it is when the wind is in their tail feathers. That's all about ibis. Now it's the last slide, and let me talk about the chevron of birds, because I had an opportunity to discuss this for quite a moment. Those chevrons crossing the night sky are really a great phenomenon, but now a short glossary on Polish proverbs because I found a handful. They're connected to birds. I'll try to present them also with the English translation because I do realize that translating proverbs is difficult. For example, to have wings at your arms. I don't know if you know that in English it reads, enjoy the freedom of the European internal market. There is also another saying, to unfurl your wings, which translates into organization of a Labor Mobility Congress. Now, I don't know whether to read this third one or not, to curtail somebody's wings, or to clip somebody's wings. There is one more, chicken has wings like the eagle, and so what? Oh, I did. It's not really that untranslatable, as the guy there back in the booth did it. I could probably continue on that chevron for a long time, but I wish you, may you fly like those birds when you're flying with your projects, that you also find in this unbelievable phenomenon a source of inspiration, Labor Mobilis. In short, I wish you high flying, and thank you very much for your attention.
Dziękuję bardzo. A co może pani poseł powiedzieć o...
Now, Madam MP, what can you say about this year's laureates? Jeff, Frederick, excellent job, truly well done. And this is where the laudation could actually end. But why should we give a reward for someone who simply is doing their job? After all, aren't the pay checks from the University of Louvain enough? Well, the answer is no. Spotting differences in seemingly identical phenomena, the ability to associate seemingly unrelated facts, and critical thinking in the recognition of truth and falsehood. Passion associated with such talent manifests itself as a passion for research, which consists of fear of the unknown and the desire for the most accurate answers and the most rational solutions. Researchers should cultivate their doubts, and they must remain skeptical and critical, while the sole thing they have to believe in is that there is truth out there. Of course, the researcher's skills are no less important. A researcher must know their tools. There is critical thinking, logical thinking, reasoning. They must bring the results of the research out to the public, show them to the world in an intelligible way. All these qualities and many others characterize our laureates. Yet they must have felt some anxiety, when the data they gathered revealed an image of posting of workers so different from the one embedded in politicians' perceptions due to lack of data and research. So the groundbreaking nature of the work is that the authors took up a topic which was controversial and at the far front of the political agenda. So they decided to verify this common perception that posted workers are the source of social dumping and the displacement of local labor, especially in the construction sector in Belgium. This hypothesis did not stand the collision with the collected empirical material and actually demonstrated quite a different image than the one we were used to. So congratulations on your courage. It is not easy to discuss those things with the politicians, and I certainly know what I'm saying. This reward is a recognition for the perseverance and objectivity of Jeff and Frederick, but also a reminder of an important, if not undervalued, virtue. This is responsibility. Responsibility of researchers in the pursuit of the truth. Responsibility of politicians for making the political choices based on facts, for listening for the stakeholders, and verifying their position against the data and reality. Once the research is published, the results are then subject to interpretation. We all look at the same image, the same data, but everyone sees something else. We pay attention to some details while we omit some other details. We often see what we're actually looking for, even if it's not there. So, even though that the facts are not to be discussed with, Jeff and Frederick present the facts in a clear way. The impact of posting of workers on the economies of receiving states is positive. The source of disturbance, social dumping, or displacement of local employees is unregistered employment and bogus self-employment. So this year's award is also an expression of responsibility of the members of the LMI and the jury for the research which demonstrates the true picture of the market and undermines stereotypes and prejudice, so that it draws the attention of politicians who are responsible for shaping the level playing field in the single market. In the justification of the award, we are using the future tense. We shall overcome. We will overcome. The jury wants to express its regret that prejudice and stereotypes are still dominating in shaping the rules of work mobility. So by awarding this prize, we would like to encourage these two researchers and all the other researchers who are frustrated by the fact that politicians ignore this research. So we want to encourage them not to abandon the critical approach, their perseverance and impartiality, because in the long-term perspective, facts overcome deep prejudices. And then, long into their retirement, they will be sitting on those rocking chairs, smiling and saying, "Didn't I tell you so? Didn't I tell you so?"
To może wręczymy tę nagrodę.
Shall we present the awards, perhaps? Yes, let's do.
A dla kogo?
Do you know which goes to whom? Which wing goes to whom?
Zapraszamy zespół badaczy z
Can we now invite the HIVA team, the Catholic University of Leuven, Józef Pakolet and Frederick de Vespelare. Jeff and Frederick, congratulations.
Thank you for your great job.
Brawa!
Nie powinniśmy grać się śpiewać.
Tam wyznaczamy będzie.
Brawo! And now, please join Dr. Benio in our cafe, where he will ask you some tricky questions. Will they be tricky? Dr. Benio.
Well, we'll see if they'll be tricky. Just join us, put the awards at the table and take a seat.
Mark, can I say one word?
Yes.
I think this is very important. Many thanks, many thanks. So therefore, my Polish is very bad, even non-existing, but I have to say it, dziękuję. 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 Many thanks.
Well, danke wel, danke wel. Good job. Really, I'm very happy that it's you, really. I mean, this was so unexpected. Was it? Are you surprised?
Certainly. I'm very surprised. Normally, it's always a politician.
Yeah, do you know,
we are only a poor researcher, let's say. So we really, yes, I'm really surprised.
Do you know who was your competitors?
No. Well, I'm afraid that it was perhaps the commissioner.
But
Well, you said that.
you realize that we are also researchers, right?
Certainly.
Well, we missed the beginning of there was no translation in the beginning, but there was a lot of laughing in the floor. But we then listened to your last, and it's what we are talking about. We wanted to do this. As a researcher, you have to say what you have to say, and that was the analysis you gave. But in Belgium, I normally say to the politicians, as a researcher, we have to say what we want to say and to write what we want to do. But the politician has to do what she or he wants to do. So they do not always have to listen to what the researcher says. That's what our experience, but it's an experience to survive, of course.
But I have to tell you that this is, we feel the lack of research and the lack of facts, especially in posting of workers. The time we were working on enforcement, that was working in the fog. And it was really, really difficult to work on it. So for me also, that was a big surprise that there are some research during this short period of time. We can see what exactly the posting is working in Europe, and this is very important. So thank you a lot for your job. That was really, really great, because that was much easier today discuss on facts and discuss what. To look for the way we have to solve the problem we have.
But just comment on that issue, the European Commission, and by the way, you are giving those 2 awards to ourselves, but you are at the same time giving that award to the European Commission, because it was them who commissioned us, and they did it already before starting collecting, and the quality of the statistics were not all the time good enough. They are not even now good enough. Even for Poland, we are missing information. But what we did, added to it on that tradition and by the invitation of the European Commission, year by year, we asked something more, also to the Administrative Commission, to the administrations, to the national administration, to the SUS administration, to provide more evidence. And sometimes I say, no statistics, no problems. We want to add all the time. Well, certainly. So that's in contradiction with this ignorance about the fact and the figures. We added all the time something more year by year. And nevertheless, we said the more you have statistics, the more you know, the more you realize that you don't know what is really happening. And by the way, during the discussion, there was already the lady that we met with you. She said, "Yeah, you must have the experience of the real floor happening, what is happening in France." So I realized that there is a difference between the statistics and the reality. But even beyond the veil of ignorance in the statistics, I think we provide some empirical evidence. And it's indeed an empirical matter, what is the reality, and what we are very happy. And I am thanking you all and this distinguished committee that made such a wise decision. Congratulate you with that. I have to thank you because what you are doing is you picked us up, you observed us, you didn't ignore us, you used the information. And at the same time already you awarded us with now this trophy, but you also used it, you took care for the dissemination of this information. And what we are observing is that there are more and more institutions and stakeholders, political parties in the parliament, for instance, also are using this information, and that really is also thanks to you. But we have to give credit all the time to the European Commission and the national administrations. We have to convince them that it is feasible and it's useful, but they were the first user of these statistics. So I take the credit with me, but it's...
I have to say that this is a hidden award to the European Commission.
Well, you are very correct.
But it's not only because they they commissioned the job to you. This is, of course, very fortunate. But how we discovered you is a very interesting story. We saw the impact assessment of the proposal, and we did something that probably no politician does. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's
but
true.
Just a second. But we looked in the footnotes of the Commission's report, and we didn't stop there. We looked inside the publications that were listed there, and one of them was one of yours earlier works. And then we realized that, unfortunately, and that's why it's not the Commission here at the table today, but in this beautiful cafeteria, but it's you, because unfortunately they were not responsible enough to use the data, or we have the impression they misused it a little bit for political reasons. I understand from the historical perspective why now, but that's why you're getting the reward. I'm not neglecting the achievements of the committee, of the Commission.
But we are only
No, go ahead.
we are only one voice in this debate, not more than that. So we as a researcher, this is even an award for research community. So many thanks for them. And I'm also looking forward to have more such discussions as of today, because I think it's very useful to have a nuanced, balanced debate about the pros, cons, problems, but also, yes, very interesting tool of making use of posting. So I hope in the future that more and more researchers will be aware about the existing of data, that they can work with it, and that we can discuss it as a researcher, but not at the sideline. And I think this is also an important message for researchers. Do not stay at the sideline. Be active in this debate, and in the end, there is a decision. And as a politician, you have to take a decision. We not longer, yes, we can only give advice, provide some statistics. In the end, you have to take the decision. But it's important that you know what are the data. And indeed, you already mentioned it last year during the discussion about the enforcement directive. There were almost no statistics. Now, yes, more and more data become available. I'm convinced, also thanks to the enforcement directive, that national data will become available even more in detail than we have now by using A1 forms, by looking at the profile. So I'm convinced that we can take more steps in the future with regard to statistics and getting more knowledge about posting. So I'm really looking forward to have this kind of debates in the future.
Yes, no.
Sure. Yes, please.
First the politicians. Lady first also.
Yes.
No.
Thank you. From perspective of my committee, I would like to thank you especially for choosing this subject, posting of workers, which was very, very hot subject. In my committee, employment committee, always I feel lack of research, lack of data, lack of information. Usually we have, during hearings, we have people from the same institutions, the same people, and from my experience being in parliament, I noticed that I know what they will answer, what they will say. So we cannot develop our information, our knowledge about social policy. So that was very great that you choose this subject, because that was very controversial and shows to people from our committee that research, that facts are very, very important. So I hope you will continue, maybe not exactly and the only the posting, but also the other issue in terms of social policy. This is very, very important for Europe.
I'm great. It's very good. Seriously.
Thank you for you.
Well, it's nice that you mention it, because it's not only about posting. what we do. It's more than that. And also the Administrative Commission is much larger than only collecting data about A1. But the current data we collect on regulation could facilitate also the ongoing discussion with regard to the revision of the coordination rules. And again, it's very sensitive discussion. For instance, export of family benefits. Austria is looking, big eyes, ask for a revision. Many times asked. And there you have to admit that I think the Commission has taken a very good decision. Namely, we do not revise the current rules with regard to the export of family benefits because it's only 0.5% in total. And indeed, Austria is one of the outliers, keeping aside Luxembourg, but it's only Luxembourg. And for several reasons, it's too complicated to go in this debate. Is Austria an outlier? But there are many frontier workers paying also social security contributions, taxes in Austria. And also in this debate, I think there should be, again, balanced debate about the pros, about the cons. So certainly it's much broader than only posting. It's about mobility, pensions, export of family benefits, sickness, yes.
The issue you mentioned about the reporting of the impact assessment of the Commission is exactly what I meant. A researcher has to do and to write what he wants to say, and a politician or political committee has to do what she thinks needed to be done. And that makes also the open debate possible all the time, because we can feel free. And by the way, I appreciated very much this day, this colloquium. You are a lobby group also for this important industry in your country in general, and nevertheless it was a very open discussion that you invited everyone, and that's the only way to go forward, and I think also to come to conclusions in this important issue. By the way, I must make some confession. The very start of this kind of activities was a subcontracting that we did for our colleagues from the TRES network from the University of Ghent. So subcontracting might be a very reasonable way of working.
This was my next question, like how did you get contaminated with posting of workers in the first place? Because normal people don't do this. Like they
No, with the contamination is that we are doing since 1992, observing the impact of the European economic and monetary later on integration and the fear about the social Europe. And every 5 years, not every year we do a conference, but every 5 years I make this comparative analyzing from the social protection. And this is a special topic in the social protection issue. It's the coordination of social security and related also. And so it's a very old love of ours to look to Europe and to convince to say that Europe is not at all, is really, and that's what our contribution of our research is. I think we are contributing, and Europe is contributing to economic and social progress. There is no contradiction between competitiveness and economic development and social protection. And that's the reason why we are so much interested in this kind of research. It was a commission later on from the European Commission, from DG Employment, with very dedicated persons we have met there. But to took that appointment clearly up, we consider it as a mission. We are from the Catholic University. You need dedicated workers. And I have to give now very much the credit itself to my dear collaborator. By the way, he studied some law at Ghent. He came to Leuven, and so he very much committed himself to this kind of research, and that's the reason why we continue to do it. I would say that this kind of trophy, how do we call it in English?
Award.
It's award, but it's more trophy, let's call it that.
Wings.
Wings, there are certainly, so I hope that by 2 years from now, he will present his PhD, and he already enjoyed a very festivity about that event. But what I would say is to wish you, Frederic, to continue this kind of work, as you were invited by the esteemed committee. And by 8 years from now, I am retired already 2 months, so I shouldn't be here.
That's a very bad news.
But within 8 years from now, 4 years after you took your time to adjust everything and to adjust also your business model, come back here to provide the latest statistics. You need 4 years more because the statistics and the reality need to adapt itself, and it must be stable. And then you can come back and tell that indeed this new directive has not been to give you more optimistic perspective to the end of this day, that it was positive for the posting in the future. If not, then you have to come back and say that I was wrong. But I would like to thank especially you, Marek, and also Stefan, who is remaining there in the dark, for your hospitality and welcoming us in the debate, because that was very much, it really is an honor. And also with what the arguments you were using, because that's our dedication to the research. That was even more pleasant than the wings, but the wings are perfect. It's really an honor for both of us, for our EVA Institute and our Catholic University of Leuven to accept this. And you made it even more a moment de gloire, because you invited also Danny Peters, who is sitting also somewhere in the dark, because he is the vice-rector of the university. But by the way, he has been also the vice-rector, no, the vice-president. We do not have a vice-rector, not yet. He has been the former vice-president of our EVA Institute. He has been there in that role to guarantee our academic standards and freedom, and that's the most important. That's the only thing, by the way, that we have, and those awards indeed support us in this academic freedom. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I just say,
just a typical discussion in cafeteria in Krakowie.
yes.
As usual.
In fact, I must say, yes, it is. For the last couple of years, for me at least. Stay hungry. Please stay hungry and curious as you were when looking for the truth. Thank you very much, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please,
What's next step?
let me use this opportunity. Unfortunately, I will switch to Polish language.
I would like to use this opportunity to tell you that the Labor Mobility Initiative is one of the key institutions in the European Union, as it groups experts who come and talk to our politicians, present reasonings, present solutions, and that these solutions do convince the European parliamentary members, and they offer support. So thanks to this initiative, we are able to gain more knowledge. Your support has resulted in much better outcomes in terms of the report presenting the European Parliament than the Council did. I am very hopeful that the outcomes that we have received in the European Parliament, thanks to you and thanks to the initiative, will then translate into the final negotiations in the trialogue. And we're very grateful. Thank you very much for your hard work that you've done within the initiative. Thank you for Marga is somewhere here. Margareta, my advisor, and Ivona, great people and great cooperation, very effective within the European Parliament. Thank you very much indeed. May I add a couple of sentences? We also have people from the government administration here. Yes, indeed, Agnieszka and Joasia and Magda. Thank you very much. They're also sitting in the dark, but thank you so much. even today, when this cooperation is not as easy as it was a couple of years ago, I'd like to use this opportunity to thank you for cooperation. Maybe I'm not always fair, but believe me, I do highly value our cooperation. Thank you so much.
Panie doktorze.
Unfortunately, we have to wind it up because we have so many attractions to follow. And I'm not only talking about banquet, obviously. So it's a great day for the entire association, the Labour Initiative. So all the members of the initiative are now kindly asked to join us on the floor. Be mobile and come to the stage.
Yeah.
Well, I think that
I know the scenario.
Willen we
you do.
Frederik beneden?
Well,
Let's take selfies first.
How much more was it than 10 minutes?
Drodzy Państwo, prosimy.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take these 2 rows when marked, so the photographer can take a good picture, good shot.
To chyba już.
Bardzo dziękujemy. Prosimy.
Thank you very much. Please take your seats.
Prosimy schodzić środkowymi schodami.
Please take the middle stairs.
Dziękuję Państwu.
Thank you ever so much. And now please stay on your seats. There is Kazimierz sitting nearby, so it's high time we listened to some music in a good Krakowian style. I'd like to thank you very much. This was an honor. I promised there will be a surprise, and I'm gonna keep my word. So in front of you, Bester Quartet and Yorgos Skolias. Warm round of applause.
I'm very sorry. Unfortunately, the microphone to which Jorge speaks is not connected to the booth, and we are soundproof. We can't hear what he says. I'm very sorry.
Mili Państwo, jeszcze...
My dear, once again, thank you very much for this night, and I invite you to the second floor to the gala dinner. Thank you very much.